Hi, this video is for Wednesday, April 15th for calculus. So today we're going to continue our talk about lesson 9.1. We're going to be talking about finding the limit of sequences. And when you find the limit of a sequence, it's said to either converge if it has a concrete limit like 1/2 or 3 or 2/5, or it's divergent, meaning the sequence has no limit. The limit is either negative infinity or positive infinity, or the function slash sequence oscillates. So oscillating, if you remember, it means it goes up and down a lot like this, or it changes, it switches each time between two different numbers or two different values, or perhaps it switches from like +1 to -1 back to +1 and then -1. Again, that's an example of oscillating. So I'm going to teach you how to figure out if a sequence is convergent or divergent based on what is its limit. Alright, so first up we have this sequence, 1/2 to the n. Okay, and its terms are 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32, and it keeps going. Okay, so as you notice, the bottom of this fraction is getting bigger every time, and when the bottom of a fraction gets bigger but the top is staying the same, that means it's getting closer and closer to 0 in this case, because it's 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32. It's going to get closer and closer to 0. It's never going to actually reach 0, but it's going to get closer and closer and closer. So we're going to say that the limit of this is 0. So I'm just going to write that here. So the limit as n approaches infinity of 1/2 to the n is 0. Now, since I found the limit and it's a concrete number, 0, that means that this sequence is convergent. So it converges to 0. Okay, so if you find the limit and it's a number, you write it converges to that number. Alright, so now I'm going to read this directly from your notes. Definition of the limit of a sequence. If a sequence has a limit L, then the sequence converges to L. If the limit of the sequence does not exist, then the sequence diverges, which I kind of told you at the beginning of this video. So we're going to determine, is it convergent or is it divergent in this next two examples. In the next two examples, I should say. Alright, so we have this first sequence, a sub n equals 3 plus -1 to the n power. Alright, and it has the terms 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, ... So this is an example of oscillating, because can you see how it switches from 2 to 4 over and over and over? So since this isn't going to have a limit, the limit does not exist, we're going to write that this is divergent, or it diverges. Okay, so because this didn't have a limit, it's divergent. Not like the movie, but you know. Alright, so part B, we're going to have the sequence B sub n. My little brackets are getting a little crazy. And it equals n over 1 minus 2n. Okay, so I'm actually going to erase this so we have some more space, but do you remember when we divided by the highest power of x to find the limit of a fraction or a function? Well, we're going to revisit that idea. We're going to divide by the highest power of n in this case, because n and x, they're both variables. So it's just a different letter. But we're going to divide by the highest power of x, or n, to try to find the limit. And if we find a limit, we're going to say it's convergent. It converges to that number. And if we get infinity or negative infinity, we're going to say that it diverges. Okay? So here we go. Part B, like I wrote before, b sub n equals n over 1 minus 2n, like that. Okay, so we're going to divide this by the highest power of n, which is n to the first. Alright, let's see what happens with this. So we have n over n, that's going to equal 1. This part here is going to become 0. And this part here is going to become negative 2. So the limit of this, n over 1 minus 2 to the n, as n approaches infinity, is going to equal negative 1/2. So because I found the limit, we're going to say that it converges to negative 1/2. Okay? So on your Google form for the day, you're going to be doing this. You're going to be dividing by the highest power of x, or n, whatever letter it is, and you're going to find the limit. And when you find the limit, you're going to say that if it's an actual number, that is convergent, and you're going to state what that limit is. I made it multiple choice, but you have to pick the limit, the correct limit, and if it's convergent or divergent. Okay, so if you need any help with that, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. I hope you had a nice spring break and a happy Easter, and I hope that we can see each other soon.